The most disturbing dark web horror stories you should never know. There are corners of the internet that exist beyond search engines, beyond social media, beyond anything you can access through normal browsing, where anonymity becomes a shield for humanity's darkest impulses, and where the line between reality and digital nightmare dissolves completely. Most people think the dark web is just a marketplace for illegal goods, a digital black market where criminals conduct business away from government surveillance. But that understanding barely scratches the surface of what truly lurks in those encrypted layers of cyberspace. Because beneath the drug markets and stolen credit card databases lies something far more disturbing. Communities of people who have discovered that the internet's deepest recesses allow them to explore territories of human experience that were never meant to be shared, documented, or monetized. These are not urban legends or creepypasta fiction designed to scare teenagers browsing Reddit at midnight. These are documented incidents reported by law enforcement cybercrime units, digital forensic specialists, and former dark web investigators who quit their jobs after encountering content that violated their fundamental understanding of what technology should enable. Tonight, you will hear 5 stories from the encrypted underworld, 5 discoveries that suggest the dark web has evolved beyond a simple tool for anonymous communication into something that challenges the very nature of reality itself. Because when human consciousness gains unlimited anonymity and zero accountability, it doesn't just break laws. It breaks the boundaries between what's possible and what should never exist. If you really like what we are doing here, please press that like button. Even a comment will help the channel by pushing the algorithm to show your favorite channel to others. And this helps us to summon more horror stories every single night. Number 5. The Oracle Forum. Detective Rebecca Walsh had been investigating dark web marketplaces for 6 years when she stumbled across a forum that would end her career in cybercrime and leave her afraid to use any electronic device for the rest of her life. The site called itself Oracle and appeared to be a simple discussion board where anonymous users posted predictions about future events. Nothing particularly sinister at first glance. Hundreds of forums existed where people shared conspiracy theories and made wild guesses about political elections or stock market movements. But Oracle's predictions were different. They weren't vague prophecies or general statements about global trends. They were specific, detailed, time-stamped predictions about individual people's lives. Personal tragedies that would occur on exact dates. Private conversations that would happen in specific locations. Career changes, relationship breakdowns, family deaths, all predicted with impossible accuracy. Walsh initially assumed the predictions were made after the events occurred, backdated to create the illusion of foresight. But the forum's blockchain verification system proved that every prediction was logged and encrypted before the events actually happened. A user named Timekeeper posted that a specific businessman in Detroit would have a heart attack in his office elevator on March 15th at 3:47 p.m. The prediction included details about what he would be wearing, what song would be playing on his headphones, and which floor the elevator would stop on when he collapsed. The businessman died exactly as predicted. Another user called Shadow Vision described a car accident that would kill a college student in Oregon, including the exact intersection, the color and model of both vehicles involved, and even the last text message the victim would send before impact. The accident occurred precisely as foretold. Walsh spent months analyzing Oracle's predictions and discovered something that made her blood freeze. The forum had maintained a 100% accuracy rate across thousands of posted prophecies. Not general predictions about celebrity deaths or political outcomes, but intimate details about ordinary people's lives that no one should have been able to know in advance. But Oracle wasn't just predicting random events. The forum appeared to be targeting specific individuals for reasons Walsh couldn't understand. Users would request predictions about particular people, and other members would respond with detailed futures that always came true. The most disturbing discovery came when Walsh found her own name in Oracle's archives. A prediction posted 8 months earlier described her investigation into the forum, including details about her current case files, her partner's name, and even the coffee shop where she was reading the prediction. The post concluded with a timestamp indicating when she would find this exact message. The timestamp was accurate to the minute. Walsh immediately tried to trace Oracle's servers, but the forum had vanished. No cached pages, no archived versions, no technical traces that it had ever existed. Even her own screenshots had been corrupted, showing only blank screens when she tried to access them. But in her final report before resigning from the cybercrime unit, Walsh included a warning that her superiors buried in classified files. Oracle hadn't been predicting the future. It had been accessing information that suggested the future was already written, stored somewhere in digital formats that human technology could occasionally glimpse but never fully understand. According to Walsh's research, similar forums continue appearing on dark web networks, offering glimpses into predetermined futures that humanity was never meant to see. And every person who accesses these sites eventually finds their own fate described in terrifying detail. Some futures can be read, but they cannot be changed. Number 4. Deathstream. Trevor Blackwood thought he had seen everything during his 5 years as a digital forensics analyst for the FBI's cybercrime division. Child exploitation rings, terrorist recruitment networks, international money laundering operations. He had developed the psychological armor necessary to investigate humanity's worst impulses without losing his sanity. Then his team discovered Deathstream. The platform appeared to be a simple video streaming service buried 12 layers deep in the dark web's most protected networks. At first glance, it resembled any number of illegal streaming sites that broadcast stolen movies or pirated television shows. But Deathstream wasn't broadcasting entertainment. It was broadcasting death. Not murder videos or execution footage that unfortunately circulated through dark web channels. Deathstream showed people dying of natural causes, accidents, and medical emergencies in real time, with production quality that suggested professional camera crews and sophisticated broadcasting equipment. The streams included elderly people dying peacefully in hospital beds, hikers falling from cliffs in remote mountain ranges, drivers having heart attacks on empty highways, deaths that appeared genuine, unscripted, and completely natural except for one impossible detail. The streams were broadcasting these deaths minutes before they actually occurred. Blackwood initially suspected the footage was pre-recorded, but metadata analysis proved the streams were genuinely live. Time-stamped server logs, real-time chat interactions, and synchronized external data sources confirmed that Deathstream was somehow capturing authentic death events before they happened. The platform's chat feature revealed an audience of thousands who discussed the upcoming deaths like sporting events. Users placed bets on exact times, speculated about causes, and requested streams of specific individuals they wanted to watch die. And somehow, Deathstream delivered. A user requested footage of a particular businessman in Chicago, and 3 days later a stream appeared showing his death from a stroke while walking his dog. The video captured every detail: his final conversation with a neighbor, his last phone call to his wife, even the specific location where he would collapse on the sidewalk. Everything occurred exactly as the stream predicted. Blackwood traced the requests and discovered that users were paying enormous sums in cryptocurrency for custom death streams of people they knew personally. Ex-wives, former business partners, family members who had inherited money they wanted. Deathstream would broadcast their deaths on schedule for the right price. But the platform wasn't facilitating murder. Medical examiners confirmed that every death appeared completely natural, with no evidence of foul play or external intervention. Yet somehow Deathstream knew exactly when and how these deaths would occur. The investigation took a horrifying turn when Blackwood found his own name in Deathstream's request queue. A user had paid for a custom stream titled Digital Forensics Analyst Apartment Fire 3 days. The listing included his home address, his work schedule, and even photos of his apartment building. Blackwood immediately went into protective custody, but 3 days later, a gas leak explosion destroyed his apartment complex exactly as Deathstream had scheduled. He survived only because the FBI had relocated him to a safe house. The platform vanished within hours of the failed stream, but forensic analysis revealed something that haunts Blackwood to this day. Deathstream's servers contained obituaries for everyone who had ever accessed the site. Detailed death predictions for every user, viewer, and investigator who had encountered the platform. some with dates that had already passed, others with timestamps still in the future. Blackwood left the FBI and moved to a remote cabin in Montana where he lives without internet access, electricity, or any electronic devices. Because according to Deathstream's final prediction, his investigation had marked him for a death that technology itself would eventually deliver. And somewhere in the dark web's deepest layers, new streaming platforms continue broadcasting deaths that haven't happened yet, serving audiences who pay to watch the futures of people they'll never meet. Death, it seems, has become entertainment, and the show is always live. Number 3. The memory market. Dr. Victoria Sterling had spent her entire career studying digital psychology and human-computer interaction, but nothing prepared her for what she discovered when federal agents asked her to analyze a dark web platform that was trafficking something unprecedented: human memories. The site called itself Experience Vault and functioned like an online marketplace where users could buy and sell access to other people's lived experiences. Not videos or written accounts, but actual memories that could be downloaded and experienced as if they were your own. The technology seemed impossible. Neuroscience hadn't developed brain-computer interfaces sophisticated enough to extract and transfer conscious experience between individuals. Yet Experience Vault contained thousands of memory files that users claimed were completely authentic. Sterling initially suspected digital manipulation, or virtual reality simulations designed to fool buyers into believing they were experiencing genuine memories. But her analysis revealed something far more disturbing than simple fraud. The memories were real. Neuroscientific analysis of users who had downloaded memory files showed brain activity patterns identical to actual recall of lived experiences. Not the artificial signatures that VR or digital media created, but the complex neural networks that formed when the brain accessed genuine personal history. Experience Vault's catalog was organized into categories that read like a nightmare version of human experience. Childhood trauma commanded premium prices. First love and wedding days sold for modest amounts. Combat experience and natural disasters attracted buyers seeking extreme psychological content. But the most expensive category was labeled Final Moments. These files contained the last conscious experiences of dying people: heart attack victims, car accident fatalities, murder victims, preserved in digital formats that allowed buyers to experience death from the inside without actually dying. Sterling traced several memory files to their sources and discovered a pattern that made her question everything she thought she knew about consciousness and digital technology. Every memory donor had been in a coma or persistent vegetative state at the time their experiences were extracted. The platform was somehow accessing the memories of unconscious people and converting them into downloadable files that retained all the emotional, sensory, and psychological components of original experience. Experience Vault's customer reviews described the download process in terms that Sterling found deeply unsettling. Users reported that purchased memories didn't feel like watching someone else's experiences. They felt like remembering things that had actually happened to them personally. Childhood memories from strangers became integrated into buyers' personal histories. Traumatic experiences from accident victims created genuine PTSD symptoms in people who had never experienced physical trauma. Combat memories from war veterans gave suburban teenagers detailed knowledge of battlefield tactics and weapons training they had never received. The psychological contamination was permanent. Users couldn't distinguish downloaded memories from their own lived experiences, creating fractured identities built from fragments of other people's lives. But Sterling discovered something even more horrifying when she analyzed Experience Vault's seller profiles. People weren't just selling old memories from their past. They were selling memories of events that hadn't happened yet. Future wedding days. Career achievements that would occur next year. Retirement celebrations scheduled for decades in the future. These memories contained details about people the sellers hadn't met yet, places that didn't exist yet, technology that hadn't been invented yet. As if human consciousness could somehow access experiences that existed in potential futures and convert them into sellable digital products. Sterling's investigation ended when she found her own memories listed in Experience Vault's catalog. experiences from her childhood that she had never shared with anyone, intimate moments from her marriage that existed only in her private recollections, even dreams she had never described to another person. Someone had been extracting and selling her memories without her knowledge or consent. The listing included a preview file labeled Digital Psychology Professor, Final Research Discovery. When Sterling accessed the file, she experienced a memory of herself making a discovery about the nature of human consciousness that would revolutionize neuroscience. The memory felt completely authentic. She could recall every detail of the breakthrough, every emotion associated with the discovery, every implication for future research. But the memory was dated 3 months in the future, and Sterling realized that if Experience Vault could access her future memories, it already knew what she would discover about the platform's true purpose. It knew how her investigation would end. It knew whether she would survive learning the truth about what human consciousness really was. Sterling deleted all her research and resigned from her position without publishing her findings, because the future memory she had experienced contained one detail that convinced her to abandon her investigation entirely. In that memory of her greatest scientific discovery, she saw herself dying from the revelation. And memory files, it seemed, never lied. Number 2. The Soul Exchange. When FBI Special Agent Nathan Cross first encountered a dark web platform called SoulSwap, he assumed it was another elaborate scam targeting people desperate enough to believe in supernatural solutions to their problems. The site claimed to facilitate permanent exchanges between users who wanted to trade their lives for someone else's existence. Not identity theft or financial fraud, but complete transfer of consciousness between two individuals who wanted to escape their current circumstances. Cross had investigated hundreds of similar scams where criminals promised impossible services to vulnerable people: fake time travel bookings, immortality treatments, supernatural revenge services. The dark web was full of operations designed to exploit human desperation for miraculous solutions. But SoulSwap was different. The platform contained detailed testimonials from users who claimed they had successfully exchanged lives with other members. Not metaphorically or temporarily, but completely and permanently. Their consciousness had been transferred into different bodies while retaining all their original memories and personality. A user named Broken Executive described trading lives with Dreaming Artist after both grew dissatisfied with their circumstances. The executive wanted creative freedom, while the artist craved financial security. According to their posts, the exchange had been completed successfully, with each consciousness now inhabiting the other's body and life circumstances. Cross initially dismissed these accounts as role-playing or shared delusion, but his investigation revealed details that suggested something genuinely impossible was occurring through SoulSwap's services. Credit card records showed that Broken Executive and Dreaming Artist had indeed traded spending patterns completely after their supposed exchange. The executive's corporate purchasing history was replaced by art supply purchases, while the artist's modest transactions were replaced by expensive business meals and luxury goods. Social media analysis revealed that both individuals' online personalities had shifted dramatically. Writing styles, political opinions, cultural references, and personal relationships had changed in ways that suggested genuine personality transplantation rather than simple account theft. Most convincingly, family members and friends of both users confirmed that their loved ones were demonstrating knowledge, memories, and personality traits that belonged to complete strangers. Cross decided to create an undercover account to investigate SoulSwap's exchange process. He contacted a user who claimed to be a terminally ill patient, wanting to trade lives with someone healthy, hoping to understand the platform's actual methodology. The dying user was eager to trade with Cross's fictional persona, a healthy but suicidal individual looking to escape his problems through death. The exchange would theoretically give the sick user a healthy body while allowing Cross's character to die peacefully in a hospital bed. SoulSwap's exchange process required both parties to undergo consciousness preparation through software that connected to their devices and ran background processes for several weeks. Cross assumed this was data harvesting designed to enable identity theft, but technical analysis showed the software was accessing parts of users' devices that didn't contain personal information. Instead, it was monitoring electromagnetic patterns, neural interface compatibility, and what the code comments described as consciousness fingerprinting, through methods Cross's technical team couldn't understand. 3 weeks into the process, Cross began experiencing psychological changes that he initially attributed to undercover stress. His food preferences shifted to match his dying exchange partner's dietary requirements. His sleep patterns adjusted to accommodate medical treatments he wasn't receiving. His handwriting began resembling someone else's style. But the most disturbing change was his growing knowledge of information he had never learned. Medical terminology related to his partner's illness. Childhood memories from a family he had never met. Emotional reactions to people and places he had never encountered. Cross terminated his undercover investigation when he realized that SoulSwap's consciousness preparation wasn't preparing him for theft or fraud. It was gradually transferring his actual consciousness into compatibility with someone else's dying body. The software was somehow mapping the electromagnetic patterns of human awareness and preparing to relocate them between different biological hosts. Cross destroyed all his research and requested immediate transfer to a different division, but not before documenting one final discovery that convinced him SoulSwap represented technology beyond current human understanding. The dying user he had been paired with sent him a private message that contained details about Cross's childhood, his police academy graduation, his first case assignment, and even the name of his current investigation supervisor. Information that only Cross should have known. Information that suggested the dying stranger had already begun accessing Cross's memories and experiences through the consciousness preparation process. SoulSwap wasn't facilitating identity theft between desperate users. It was enabling genuine consciousness transfer between human beings, using technology that violated every scientific principle about the nature of psychological identity. And according to Cross's classified final report, similar platforms continue operating throughout the dark web's deepest networks, serving users who have discovered that human consciousness is far more portable than anyone suspected. The soul, it seems, has become another commodity for digital exchange, and the dark web provides the marketplace where desperate people trade the very essence of their existence. Number 1. The Erasure Protocol. In 2019, a joint task force of international cybercrime investigators discovered a dark web service that challenged the fundamental nature of reality itself. A platform that claimed to completely remove people from existence. Not assassination or murder, but total erasure from history, memory, and physical reality, as if targeted individuals had never been born. Agent Catherine Vale was the lead investigator assigned to what internal documents called Operation Void, the task force's attempt to understand and shut down a service known as Erasure Protocol that had been operating for an unknown period in the dark web's most protected layers. The platform functioned like a high-end assassination marketplace, but instead of offering murder services, it provided complete removal of targeted individuals from all levels of reality. Photos would lose the targeted person. Video footage would show empty spaces where they had been standing. Family members would forget they had ever existed. Erasure Protocol's price structure reflected the complexity of complete erasure. 50,000 for removal from digital records, 200,000 for elimination from physical documentation, and 1 million for full reality deletion. That included erasing the target from living memory. Vale initially assumed the service was an elaborate confidence scheme targeting wealthy individuals with paranoid fantasies about permanently eliminating their enemies. But her investigation revealed completed erasures that violated every scientific principle she thought she understood. The task force identified several individuals who had been reported as Erasure Protocol targets by whistleblowers within the platform's user community. When investigators attempted to locate these people for protective custody, they discovered something that defied rational explanation. The targeted individuals couldn't be found anywhere. Not hidden, not missing, not relocated to safe houses by other agencies. They simply didn't exist in any discoverable form. Birth certificates had vanished from government databases. Photo albums showed empty spaces where the targets should have appeared. Family members had no memory of ever knowing anyone by those names. School records, employment history, medical files, legal documents. every trace of these people had been deleted from official systems as if they had never existed. But Vale discovered something even more disturbing when she interviewed the family members of erased individuals. They weren't simply unaware of their missing relatives. They showed psychological evidence of memory damage that suggested forced amnesia rather than natural forgetting. Mothers who had clearly given birth to multiple children could only remember raising one child, despite photo evidence showing 2 children before the erasure was completed. Spouses displayed neurological stress patterns consistent with traumatic memory loss, as if their brains had been surgically altered to remove specific recollections. The erasures weren't just removing records and documentation. They were somehow modifying human consciousness to eliminate all memory of the targeted individual's existence. Erasure Protocol's technical infrastructure revealed capabilities that exceeded any known technology. The platform could access government databases, financial networks, healthcare systems, and educational institutions simultaneously, making coordinated deletions across hundreds of separate networks within minutes. But the platform's ability to modify human memory suggested technology that could directly interface with biological consciousness, altering neural pathways and synaptic connections without physical access to the targeted brains. Vale's investigation ended when she discovered her own name in Erasure Protocol's active deletion queue. Someone had paid for her complete removal from reality, scheduled to occur within 72 hours of her discovery of the platform. The commission included detailed specifications about her investigation, her team members' names, and even the location where she was reading the deletion order. Erasure Protocol knew she had found them, and they had already initiated the process that would remove her from existence entirely. Vale attempted to alert her supervisors, but her crime reports were automatically deleted from FBI databases as soon as she submitted them. Her personnel file began showing employment gaps where her current assignment should have been listed. Her apartment lease was terminated by a property management company that claimed no tenant by her name had ever lived there. The erasure had begun. Vale went into hiding and attempted to document her discoveries before her existence was completely deleted, but every piece of evidence she created was systematically destroyed by automated systems that seemed to anticipate her actions. Her final message, sent from an anonymous account to an investigative journalist, contained a warning that law enforcement agencies have tried to suppress. Erasure Protocol wasn't simply a criminal service offering impossible erasures to wealthy clients. It was a demonstration of technology that could rewrite reality itself, removing any person, event, or concept from history with precision that suggested control over the fundamental structure of existence. According to Vale's final communication, similar platforms continue operating throughout the dark web's deepest networks, offering services that exceed the boundaries between digital manipulation and reality modification. The internet, it seems, has evolved beyond a communication tool into something that can alter the physical laws governing existence itself. And somewhere in encrypted servers hidden across the globe, services continue offering complete erasure of anyone who discovers too much about what the dark web has become. Vale was never found. Her FBI employment records show no agent by that name. Her apartment was rented to a different tenant who has no memory of anyone else ever living there. But this story exists as the only remaining evidence that Operation Void was ever conducted, that Erasure Protocol was ever discovered, and that Agent Catherine Vale ever existed at all. Unless, of course, you're reading this on a screen that will automatically delete this file as soon as you finish reading. In which case, you'll forget this story entirely. Just like everyone else who learned too much about what waits for curious minds in the dark web's deepest layers. These 5 incidents represent more than isolated criminal operations hidden in anonymous networks. They reveal a digital underworld that has evolved beyond simple law-breaking into something that challenges the fundamental nature of reality itself. The Oracle Forum suggests that future events exist in accessible digital formats, waiting to be discovered by those with the right technology. Deathstream proves that death itself can be commodified, broadcast, and sold to audiences who watch authentic human endings as entertainment. The memory market demonstrates that consciousness can be extracted, transferred, and sold like any other digital product. The Soul Exchange reveals that human identity is far more portable than science believed, capable of complete transfer between different biological hosts. And the erasure protocol shows that reality itself can be edited, with people, events, and entire histories deleted from existence through technology that operates beyond known physical laws. The dark web was created to provide anonymity and freedom from surveillance, but it has become something far more dangerous than a haven for criminals avoiding law enforcement. It has evolved into a testing ground for technologies that exceed human understanding, serving communities that have discovered how to manipulate the basic building blocks of consciousness, time, and reality. Every year, the platforms become more sophisticated, the services more impossible, the implications more terrifying. What began as encrypted communication between privacy advocates has transformed into a digital dimension where the laws of physics become optional and human consciousness becomes just another commodity for trade. But the most disturbing truth about these dark web horror stories isn't what they reveal about criminal technology or underground markets. It's what they suggest about the nature of reality itself. If digital platforms can predict predetermined futures, if consciousness can be extracted and transferred like files, if human memory can be bought and sold, if identity can be swapped between bodies, and if existence itself can be deleted through technological processes, then what we think of as reality may be nothing more than a complex digital simulation, one that can be accessed, modified, and controlled by anyone with the right tools and sufficient anonymity. The dark web isn't just hiding from law enforcement, it's hiding from the administrators of reality itself. And somewhere in those encrypted layers, communities of users have discovered that the universe operates according to rules that can be hacked, exploited, and rewritten by anyone brave enough to venture into the digital darkness where human consciousness meets technologies that should not exist. The internet was supposed to connect us to information. Instead, it connected us to truths about existence that humanity was never meant to discover. And once you know that reality can be edited, you can never be certain which version you're living in, or whether you're living at all.